Hello and welcome to another episode of Candid Talks with Bharat V. This is Bharat Vatsa, your host of the show. Many people's lives are proliferated with excuses, but some of us manage to make our own mark through sheer hard work and dedication. And one of them is Aparna Kumar, an IPS officer from Uttar Pradesh, cadre, posted as DIG Indo Tibetan Border Police. She is the first officer from All India Civil Services to conquer tallest peak Mount Vinson Massifan in Antarctica. Please do listen to this episode till the end. Before we begin, please do not forget to subscribe to this podcast channel, and you can connect with me on my Facebook page at Candid Talks with Bharat V. So let's welcome DIG ITBP Aparna Kumar. Welcome to the show, ma'am, and it's my pleasure that you could took out time and join us today on the show. How are you doing in this pandemic? पहले तो आप मुझे ये बताइए, because pandemic में जहाँ पे सब लोग lockdown में हैं और working from home, but you guys are outside on the front line and helping everyone to maintain the peace and order. So how you are dealing with that situation?
Hello. The corona pandemic was a big shock for everyone, and it was for us in Dehradun also. Dehradun, we have a sector headquarter in Dehradun and a frontier headquarter of ITBP in Dehradun. We mainly take care of the borders between India and China occupied Tibet, that is the Tibetan territory, and the Chinese occupied Tibetan territory. Okay. I am in charge of the Garhwal region. So we have a border of around almost 256 kilometers in Garhwal, which the Indo Tibetan Border Police takes care of.
Okay.
Initially, when the coronavirus started in March, we had to be very, very, alert and careful, because we did not want any of our personnel to get infected. Absolutely. Because most of them were deployed at the borders. They were in Jammu Kashmir. They were also deployed in the Naxal areas in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand.
Okay.
So our primary issue was to keep our men and women safe from the pandemic. But because of a lot of travel, people get transferred, people are on leave, and they are traveling from all over India. They're coming from south, they're coming from northeast, from all over the place. So when the lockdown happened, so everyone was stuck. So people who were on duty in all parts of the country, they were stuck wherever they were. People who had gone on leave, they were stuck at their homes.
Yeah.
So the first 2 months, they were all, wherever they were all stuck there itself. After the lockdown, there was some ease of traveling. We had to get them through special trains, or by their own means they came. And most of them who came from outside, they were infected. So we had to isolate them, quarantine them. All these things happened. And initially we had a lot of infections, and the infections even went as far as our border outposts. So that was a big, it was a very serious issue for the Indo-Tibetan Border Police when people deployed at the borders get infected. So we had to immediately remove them from there, quarantine them, hospitalize some of them who required hospitalization. And otherwise, generally, they were all quarantined and taken care of.
Okay.
Now, as of now, we are at a very, very favorable situation as far infections are concerned, because we were not used to this new thing, a new infection,
Absolutely.
new one.
Yeah.
So once we got to know how to take care, so now the personnel and everyone, whether it's the officers or my peers or my staff, they're all very, very careful with always wearing masks. We see to it that very few people are in the office doing file work. All this, the routine work was a bit, affected initially. But now we are, after 2-3 months, we got used to the routine, and again back to our normal routine with a lot of precaution.
For the entire mankind, I believe, this is something which we are not, accustomed to. And I think this kind of a pandemic we had earlier, I think in around 1800 or early 1900s, I think we, wherein the mankind did face this situation. But I think it's after long years, that we never dealt with this kind of a situation earlier. So I think it was new for everyone, for all of us, obviously. And I just hope that we uh, get the vaccines very soon in the near future, so that we get rid of this situation. Okay,
Yeah.
so ma'am, tell us something about your background. I believe you're originally from Karnataka. So how and when did you decide to join Indian Civil Services and become IPS officer? What made you decide that?
Okay. I'm originally from Karnataka. I was born in this district called Shimoga. The highest waterfalls, it's called
Yeah,
the Joke Falls, situated in that district.
yeah.
So, but I did my schooling and college in Mysore and Bangalore
Mhm.
in Karnataka. And I did my law BA LLB honors from National Law School of India University, Bangalore, the NLSIU. And after my 5 years law, I started practicing in the civil and the lower courts in Bangalore.
Okay.
During that time, one of our seniors in the law school got through the civil services, and he got one of the topmost ranks. He was, I think, the third or the fourth rank he came. So that inspired me and motivated me to uh, think of giving the civil services. So
Okay.
during when I was practicing as a lawyer, I used to sit and study for the exams, also go through the books and everything. So during that practicing only, I gave my prelims, and then I got through the prelims. So then what I did is I stopped practicing, because it's a very serious exam, and
Yeah.
you cannot. And I didn't want to sit for 2-3 years or 4 years. It's a long time for someone without a job. So what I did was I stopped practicing, and I shut myself in the house with all the books, and talked to my professors, law professors, and they advised me as to what books to read and how to go about it and everything. And then for the next 7-8 months, I sat and studied. I did self study, because I took my options were in those days. I took public administration and law. Law was my subject, and public administration was very it was a subject of very close to law and constitution and everything. So it was
Right.
quite easy for me.
Mhm.
So I the 5 years what I did in law school, I sat down, and each and every textbook and all the books, I sat down and pored over all these books, made notes, and systematically organized my time and everything. And then went about studying for the exam, and I gave the mains and got through. And interview, for me, the interview was a big challenge, because I had not seen Delhi till then. I came to Delhi for the first time in 2002 for the interview, and I was quite psyched. And my interview did not go very well, and I thought maybe
Okay.
I would have to give the exam again.
Okay.
But thankfully, when the results came, I had got through. I had opted, like people normally opt for IAS, foreign service. Their first option would be that. I had opted for the police service, because always was very, inspired by the uniform
Mhm.
services. Like if I was not in the police, maybe I would have joined the army or any other paramilitary force or anything,
Okay.
probably.
Okay.
So that's how my inclination towards civil services, and how I went about getting through the exams.
Okay. So अगर ये नहीं होता उसे, then probably you would have continued to being as a lawyer.
Yes, I would have continued to practice, and then I would have given the judicial exams. Probably I would
Judge.
have been a judge. Yeah.
Judge. Okay. So, ma'am, being in police force, and please don't judge me that I'm asking, or I'm being biased or something, but it's just a question that I want to ask for all our listeners, that being a lady officer and being in police force, did you face any kind of challenges to start off with? I know in today's world it doesn't matter anymore, But I'm sure definitely in the start of your career, you might have faced many challenges. So if you may want to tell us something about that experience, please.
Definitely. See, I come from a family where there were no civil servants.
Mm-hmm.
From a very ordinary family, and most of my relatives all stayed in small towns in Karnataka.
Right.
And not many of my relatives were in Bangalore also, not even in Mysore in those days. I remember I used to go to my village to meet all my relatives or my grandparents' house and everything. So, yes, some of them were lecturers and in government service, but not in these higher posts. So, I was the first generation, and that too in the police services. It was like when I, where, after getting through the civil services, we do a initially when during those times, there was a 3 months foundation course in Missouri.
Okay.
So that was the first time in 2002, I remember in September, I went to Missouri to do the foundation course at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time that I saw the hills of snow-capped peaks and everything.
Okay.
So, see, first time someone from South India, from a very, very ordinary or normal family, going out of uh, home and, for training in North India was a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
And during my foundation course, we were allotted cadres. My cadre was Uttar Pradesh. So that was a
Okay.
big, big shock for me,
Okay.
that during those times, I did not know Hindi very well.
Okay.
Yes, I did know how to read and write, but very basic. And we used to, like, normal schools. So you always talk in Kannada, you're always
Yeah.
talking in the mother tongue. I've never even, I don't even remember talking in English in school. Maybe in college when I was in law school, yes, I did talk in English, but,
Mm-hmm.
mostly talking in Kannada, not
Right.
even conversing in Hindi or anything. So
Yeah.
you're very uncomfortable in a new language. And
And
my
this would
first,
have been a cultural shock also for you, coming from
definitely,
South and Uttar Pradesh totally being North region.
yes, completely. And everything is in the extremes in Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
So it was tough. Like my first district posting as a trainee assistant superintendent of police was Allahabad. So
Oh, okay.
Allahabad, it's the center of Hindi literature and
Yes.
everything. Chase Hindi and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to put in a lot of hard work to learn Hindi, to converse in Hindi, to understand different dialects of, in Uttar Pradesh, the
Right.
eastern, in the central, how people talk in Lucknow or the
Yeah.
western UP. So all these things were really different, and also food. I was not used to eating dal or roti or anything.
Uh-huh.
So I was a rice eater. So it
Okay.
was really, it may seem very small to people, but for me it was a huge thing. Not
Mm-hmm.
knowing the language, not having any friends or relatives in Allahabad, not liking the food, and not understanding people. So things were very hard initially, but I really worked hard.
Mm-hmm.
And people were very, very, especially in UP, it's my karma bhumi. And I want to say this: people in India and other states, they have a very bad opinion of Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
But I have been treated very well in UP.
Okay.
Whatever I've learned in my job or personally, it has been due to a lot of influences and a lot of good experiences that I've
Mm-hmm.
had in UP. That really helped me in getting adjusted to a new culture, to new system of working,
Mm-hmm.
and the bureaucratic work or working. All
Right.
this was made easier because people were very, very helpful. People were very cooperative. They did not mind that I did not understand the language. They helped me to learn the language. They
Okay.
were a bit patient also. So these good experiences had a lot of influence over me. It had a positive influence over me.
Awesome. Okay. So, ma'am, um, you know, you became the first woman officer from All India Civil Services to conquer South Pole. You climbed the tallest peak, Mount Vinson Massifan in Antarctica. And but tell me something, माउंटेनियरिंग की तरफ आपका रुझान जो हुआ वो कब और कैसे हुआ? Because as you said, you hail from Karnataka, and at that point of time, I'm sure there were no such mountaineering options, there that time. So if you can tell us something about that.
Yes, like I told you, from Karnataka, and when I had to go to training, the first time I went to Mussoorie in 2002 in September. So I saw the first snow-capped peaks for the first time in Mussoorie.
Mm-hmm.
So that had a lot of, it left a great impact in my mind, somewhere in my mind. But I was too engrossed in training, loving nature, the mountains. I'd never seen such huge mountains or huge hilly areas. Because in Karnataka, yes, there are hills, but like whether it's Maharashtra, Karnataka, or anywhere in south, the altitudes are not so high.
Yeah.
The small hills, small peaks, not as high as the Himalayas. Seeing the lower Himalayas and the middle Himalayas for the first time was a different experience altogether, and it had an impact on me. But then you're so busy because you're a new entrant to the service, and it's one of the topmost service. Too busy studying and doing your training. And then once I got posted for district training in Allahabad, I was working hard to learn the language, to learn the culture and all that, and the system of policing in Uttar Pradesh. The previous question of yours was how, as a woman, I dealt with in a police force. So initially, because I got a lot of help and cooperation, so that's why my journey was a bit easier.
Okay.
Yes, there were a lot of small obstacles. Now it seems small, but then during those times for me, each and everything was a huge problem. Looking back, it all seems very silly to me. But then it was huge problems to me. Yes, as a woman also in the police force, it used to be tough. But then the workforce, your subordinates, your peers get used to you, and they also try to help you in many ways. And if you take things positively, and if you have patience, then I think you can deal with any kind of the discriminations or the patriarchal attitudes that is prevalent. So during those times, I as a new entrant, I was not even aware of like most of the things have become people have become very vocal nowadays, patriarchy or misogyny and all that. In those times, we didn't even hear to these words being spoken.
Absolutely, yeah.
We used to face a lot of things, but then we used to have these mechanisms to cope with these things.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of forums to go and complain, or you by trial and error you would learn things, learn to cope. That's what initially that's what I did. But now if you say how is it in the police force, I say no, I put my foot down and I'm more confident than I was when I was a young officer. Okay. And as to my mountaineering journey, I told you that whatever I have learned on the job in my personal life, it has been due to these influences that I had in Uttar Pradesh. The kind of different districts that I worked as ASP or SP or the senior superintendent of police and DIG in different districts of Uttar Pradesh, in different parts of Uttar Pradesh. Each and every place I learned a lot. I faced a lot of challenges also, and this made me much more. Every mistake, every failure made me much more confident, much more strong. I think it was just preparing me for bigger things.
Okay.
I think the initial stuff was really preparing me for bigger stuff. In 2013, 12 and 13, I was posted in Muradabad. It's in western Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
And it's 3 armed battalions. In Uttar Pradesh, armed battalions are called as PACs,
Uh-huh.
Provincial Armed Constabulary. So it
Right.
is called a PAC,
Okay.
battalions.
Yeah.
So I was posted to a battalion called the 9th Battalion.
Mm-hmm.
And before 1990s, it used to be called as Special Police Force.
Okay.
And before Indo Tibetan Border Police came into being,
Mm-hmm.
the 9th Battalion PAC, which is known as Special Police Force, used to take care of the border areas in Uttarakhand.
Okay. Okay.
Uttarakhand used to be in UP itself.
Yeah.
So till 2000, the PACs used to take care of all the borders with along the China. The
Mhm.
PACs used to take care. So
Okay.
this particular battalion, 9th PAC, it had, when I joined in 2012, I came across all the mountaineering equipments, gear, tentage, and a lot of my officers and subordinates, my peers and staff, they used to narrate me a lot of stories of mountaineering, how they used to go take huge loads of to these high altitude posts along the China border, how beautiful it was, how they used to walk on the snow highs, and all these incredible stories. That
Okay.
made me very, very curious. And these mountaineering equipments and gear of 1970s, 60s, 80s, the old ones. So we made a museum out of it. And during this period, I didn't even know that there were mountaineering institutes. Then
Okay.
I got to know that there are mountaineering institutes, and there is one in Uttarkashi, the Nehru
Mm-hmm.
Institute of Mountaineering, and in Darjeeling. I wanted to do a mountaineering.
Mm-hmm.
I was not even like 20 plus or 30 plus. I was already in my late 30s then. I was
Okay.
already a senior superintendent of police. About to be, in a couple of years, I would be promoted as a DIG,
Okay.
Deputy Inspector General. So, like, I found one of the institutes which was favorable to my work schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Darjeeling and Uttarkashi, the age limit was after 35. After 35 they wouldn't take women.
Okay.
And also there was just one course in a year for women. So that was not conducive to me.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this institute in Manali, Mountaineering Institute, Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute in Manali, Himachal Pradesh,
Yeah.
where the age limit was 40.
Okay.
So, and they had all the courses that they had. It was a mixed course, like even women and girls could do the course along with the boys and men.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I was commandant of this battalion. I took 1 month leave from my IG.
Okay.
He was very surprised actually. He was like, "You have." I had two small children. My daughter was 6 years, and my son was almost around 2.5 years. So it's like, instead of you have such small children, how come you're going to vanish for 1 month, leaving the kids and everything? But even then, he was kind enough to give me leave for 1 month. I took 1 month leave, and I went and did this basic mountaineering course.
Okay.
And leave this, there were like around 130 people in the course, in the basic mountaineering course.
Mm-hmm.
And the age profile would be like between 18 to 24, 25.
Okay.
The oldest would be one who's like 25, 26. I was one of the oldest.
Okay.
And I didn't even tell anyone that I'm an IPS officer. And also I told I told my husband, like, the most shock was my husband. Oh, why is this some kind of a midlife crisis that she's having, that she wants to go and do a basic mountaineering course? So he had told me, "Naak mat katana. Just remember that you're an IPS officer. People will be looking up to you. And if you're not able to complete the course, then they will have a opinion. They'll frame an opinion that batao IPS hoke kar hi nahi pai hai."
Nahi kar pai.
So you need to be aware of this fact also. So even I was a bit apprehensive when I went to the course. I was also a bit apprehensive. I didn't know. I was not really physically very fit or anything. But I went to the course, and I was very, very diligent, disciplined, and very hardworking in the course.
Okay.
Initially, in the strength of 130 students, like around 30 to 40 students in the first 1 week or 10 days, they just dropped out. So some got injured, some couldn't cope up with the physical, the strenuous exercises. But what I did, I took one day at a time, step by step. I did not miss any class. I was very, very punctual, and tried to learn, because for me it was an opportunity. Because for me, even getting 1 month leave or even 10 days leave is a big thing. So for me, it was like, okay, I have got this leave. I have to make good use of the leave that I have got. And young people, they would be looking up to me. And if I don't do it, then it will be a big embarrassment. That was also behind my back. And one of the things is, I was old and mature enough, and I was not distracted too easily. I saw young people, like, I shouldn't say this, but some of the young people were not too very focused. And a little bit of hardship they couldn't cope up with. But I could cope up with any kind of challenges or even hardship. But yes, there was this apprehension in my mind that maybe I would get injured, and I would have to leave the course midway. But thankfully, I completed the course and I got an A grade. So if you get an A grade in the basic mountaineering course, you get eligible to do the advanced mountaineering course.
Achha.
So in 2013 October, I completed the basic mountaineering course, and 2014 July again, I requested for a month's leave and went and did an advanced mountaineering course. The advanced mountaineering course was much more easier because I was now used to the strenuous workouts, the routine and everything. So it was much more easier, and I enjoyed the advanced mountaineering course. And after that, I started my, gradually, I started climbing peaks.
Okay. So, and I'm sure during all this, these courses, your training and your schedule that you would have had during your police, schedule, that would have helped you, definitely, I'm sure.
Definitely, you're right. Definitely, it helped me.
Yeah.
I think my schedule, my job profile was making me be prepared for bigger things in life.
So when you completed these courses, did you tell them that you are an IPS officer, or you still did not?
Yes. Yes, they got to know. Actually, they got to know midway during my course. They got to know that I am in the police. So it added a lot of pressure, because see, you write in the applications, you write the instructors always would know that what you are. The instructors after some point of time, they would call me. Some of the instructors who were younger than me, they would call me ma'am. So the other young kids, they would be like, "Hare, inko kyun ma'am bola ja raha hai?"
Okay.
Then then one of the instructors, I think they shared that, "Arey nahi, ye to police officer hai." So and it added more pressure on me. Young kids, they have their own opinions, and police officer, you automatically become a role model.
Yeah. No, that entire perception also changes immediately.
Yes. But then it also taught me one thing. We used to have these mess tins and go to the dining hall. We had to stand in a queue, and as officers, everything is done for you. So I learned to again go back to my student life and stand in a queue and eat in the mess, eat with all other students, my course mates, and there was a bond for me and camaraderie that developed.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I still keep in touch with a lot of them.
Acha. So, ma'am, after you completed your, basic course, and then you completed your advanced course of mountaineering. So, how did your journey towards, scaling these peaks start? I mean, how did you prepare? And some point of time you might have definitely thought that, okay, no, I want to conquer this Antarctica, the highest peak there. तो उस जर्नी के बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए. I mean, because there are, when it comes to mountain climbing, it comes with its own set of challenges, like uh, high speed of wind blowing, then low temperatures में survive करना, and then you'll be probably out of the communication range for many days, and then even getting frostbite and all that stuff. So how did you prepare for all that? And सबसे पहला जो peak आपने conquer किया वो कौन सा था? And then further, how did you do this the Antarctica mission? And then I think you even climbed Mount Everest. तो इस पूरी
Yes,
जर्नी के बारे में थोड़ा सा आप बताएंगे प्लीज.
yes, definitely. I like I did my training and everything. Training, see, when you go to school, college, it's a different thing. But when you're on the job, it's a different experience altogether.
Right.
So after my basic advanced course, again, work commitments are such that you cannot be away from your work commitments for long. After training, again, I came back and working. And during working itself, then I decided that I should do the 7 summits. The 7 summits are the 7 highest peaks of the 7 continents.
Okay.
So, see, I had just done basic and advanced course, and I had just after the advanced course, I had gone and climbed a 6,000-meter peak in Ladakh, that is Stok Kangri.
Okay.
And during advanced course also, they made us climb an 18,000 feet peak during our advanced course. Beyond that, I had never climbed any peak.
Okay.
So when I decided to do the 7 summits, I chose the one of the easiest, not the easiest, it was a trekking peak. It was not a very technical peak. I went to Kilimanjaro.
Okay.
So I climbed Kilimanjaro. This is the highest peak in Africa. It's situated in Tanzania. So the wonderful part about this journey is in 2014 itself, after I completed my advanced mountaineering course, in August I decided to go there. I took a 20 days leave, I remember. And that was the first time I was traveling out of India. And
Okay.
I did not know how to pack equipments, gear, and all the clothing that is required on the mountain. So I had huge bags, suitcases, and everything.
Okay.
And I went to Tanzania. And traveling abroad, that was the first time. You don't get trolleys. You don't. You have to carry all of your bags yourselves.
Yeah.
That was a huge task for me.
Okay.
And when I reached the hotel, it was like, my God, I had too much of luggage. And thankfully, I met my teammates. They were my teammates from all over the world.
Okay.
And my guide was from Chile. He was an American, but settled in Patagonia in Chile. And my team, we had around 9 other teammates. They were from Australia, Canada, Europe, and Japan, South Korea. So it was a mix of from all over the world. And I met really very wonderful people. And I made really good friendships. And I met 2 wonderful girls from Europe. One stays in London. The other friend of mine stays in Zurich in Switzerland. So we became really best friends. So that really it was like a platform for me, a motivation for me to really think of climbing more peaks. Because I had such a great time on Kilimanjaro. I was very strong, just out of training, and physically very agile and strong. So for me, climbing Kilimanjaro was not at all tough. I had a great time and made really good friendships and relationships with people. So it was a very good experience. And I decided then and there that yes, I'm going to climb more because I'm having a great time. I'm very happy also doing this. And I was good at it. I realized that I was good at climbing.
Mm-hmm.
That was when I realized that I'm really good at climbing. So Kilimanjaro was the platform that I really needed. It was very positive vibes. After Kilimanjaro, in the same year, I went to Indonesia. I climbed Carsten's Pyramid. It is also one of the 7 summits.
Okay.
Situated in Papua New Guinea region of Indonesia. It is around 14,000 plus feet peak. It is a rock climbing peak.
Acha.
So in Australia, the highest peak is Kosciuszko, which is just around 2,000 meters.
Mm-hmm.
So they consider Carsten's Pyramid, which is situated in Indonesia, the highest in Australasia, the Southeast Asia and Australia. So I climbed that peak, and in that peak, my guide was from New Zealand, and 2 other male climbers, they were from US. So I was the only lady member of the team, and even then I had a great time. And then I realized what teamwork is, how you, like, those two, my
Mm-hmm.
guide and those 2 male climbers, they were all 6 feet, I think 3+.
Oh,
6 feet
okay.
3+. They would weigh like they weighed around 100 kilos,
Wow.
and I was just weighing like 51, 52 kilos. The
Okay.
amount of luggage, that loads that they can carry, and the kind of
Yeah,
loads that I can carry, there was no comparison at all. And their
absolutely.
pace and my pace being so small, and they being so huge and big and strong.
Yeah.
So that, even that was a big lesson for me, to how to train. Like, it does not matter whether you're small or you're very, you seem to be weak, but it just matters how strong are you in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So then that also, and they also really helped me a lot. We worked as a team, and as a team we climbed and we succeeded. And really wonderful experience I have. And that was the first time that I was climbing with an all male team. I was the
Okay.
only woman in the team, and they really took care of me. And getting used to their kind of culture. They were all Americans, one from
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand. Their way of thinking, how they think, and
Yeah.
how, what is their outlook towards life, and how they look at women from India. See, everyone has these have these notions or preconceived notions in their head. Okay,
Yeah.
women in India may not would not come out. They were
Yeah.
like, okay. They were even surprised to know that I was married and with 2 kids, and even then I'm coming and trying to climb mountains. They were like, maybe she's single or she's divorced, so she
Yeah.
has a lot of time on her, so she's
Yeah.
coming and climbing. So all these stereotypes, even
Correct.
people from Americans or the Europeans, they also have a lot of stereotypes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
preconceived notions about Indian women. So it was
Right.
nice for me to break this myth that they
Right.
have about women. So that was also a wonderful experience. And in 2015, I went and climbed Aconcagua in South America, the highest peak in South America. It's
Okay.
in Argentina. Again, my teammates were from Australia, one male climber and one female climber.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we worked as a team, and and got used to the Australian way of life, how they used to would and they would talk about Australia and different parts of Australia. And my guide was from Argentina, so different cultures, and and also learned about their training methods. How do they take care of themselves? See, as a
Mm-hmm.
woman, it's very important that self-care, how hygiene, personal hygiene, all that is very important. So all this we did not know when I was doing my mountaineering courses. It's only when I did all started climbing with professional climbers or amateur climbers that I came to know about all these things. So how to pack your stuff, how to pack lightly,
Right.
medicines, how to carry your medicine, personal hygiene, especially being a woman, you need to be extra careful. So all these were learning points for me. I had a great time again working with the 2 Australians and my Argentinian guide and summiting Aconcagua. It is a wonderful, beautiful mountain. After Aconcagua, I went to Russia in 2015 August, and climbed Mount Elbrus in Russia. It
Okay.
was a huge, big a big team of 10 members, again from all over the world. And so it was some of them could not climb, some of them climbed. So ultimately, around 5 or 6 of us climbed. The rest of them, fell back and they could not climb. Then
Okay.
after Elbrus, I went and climbed. I went to Antarctica. After Elbrus in 2016 January,
Mhm.
I went to climb the highest peak in Antarctica called Vinson Massif.
So this is also one of the 7 summits, or this is
Yes, that is the 7 summits. It's only
okay.
like yes, that is one of the 7 summits. And before, let me tell you, before that, in 2015, I went to climb Everest.
Okay.
But if you remember, in 2015, there was a huge earthquake in Nepal.
Earthquake. Yeah.
The expeditions got cancelled. During
Yeah.
that time, I had gone to climb Everest from the China side, not from Nepal.
Okay.
Because I wanted to climb from Nepal because I wanted to see Tibet. I wanted to visit Lhasa to see Dalai Lama's Patola Palace. So
Okay.
that was my main motive to climb. And also from the China side, it's very difficult to get permits from the China side, and
Right.
very few people get permits. So we were hardly around 40 to 42 climbers.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison, on the Nepal side, there would be like 600 climbers.
Okay.
So it's you may have heard last year there was a traffic jam
Yes. Yes.
when a lot of
Yes.
deaths that happened on
Yes.
the Nepal side. So
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
wanted to be away from all these traffic jams and all that.
Okay.
So I decided to climb from the China side. But unfortunately, in 2015 there was a huge earthquake, and I was already at the advanced base camp, and we had to immediately get down to the base camp.
Okay.
And because the mountain had become quite dangerous to
Mm-hmm.
climb. We did not get injured. It was the more injuries and fatalities happened in Nepal, not on
Okay.
the China side.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was quite disappointing. After this, I went and climbed Vinson Massif in 2016 in January.
Mm-hmm.
That's the highest peak in Antarctica. Again, going to Antarctica itself is a huge, task.
Yeah.
It's so far away. It's quite expensive. It's so remote. It's completely isolated, and somehow, the Uttar Pradesh government has been sponsoring my Everest expeditions.
Okay.
So, yeah. So Antarctica, Vinson Massif, it was again a huge team from South America, North America, Europeans, Australians, and though I did not have really good relationship with the teammates because there were different kinds. Every time you can't have a very good time with people.
Yeah.
Though that was a drawback in that journey, but I really worked hard. When you climb outside of India, and I'm not even saying Nepal. See, in Nepal you have Sherpas.
Yeah.
In other countries, you don't get any help.
Correct.
You don't get any who will carry your stuff.
Yes.
You don't get any other help. There is a guide who's like who's like your mentor, and he advises you and guides you to the mountain. He will not do anything else. Everything else, like pitching tents or washing the utensils, or you are helping with the cooking. Everything you are doing.
Right.
So even in Antarctica, you carry your own luggage.
Okay.
You carry your own food. So on Antarctica, we had to pull a sled and then carry a backpack.
Okay.
The sled would be like 20 kilos, and backpack would be like 15 to 16 or 18 kilos. So
Achha.
I had to train to carry these kind of loads. So that was also was a very new thing for me, and also walking on the glacier and really cold, extreme cold temperatures. So then I had to deal with all these things, and also, like you said, high speed, cold winds that lashes against your face. So you have to cover the whole of your face. You have your goggles. You're covering your nose. You're covering your cheeks and everything. You just have a small hole to breathe. here and then here. So, and then after a point of time, everything freezes, you know. There
Right.
is snow on your goggles, on your, you know, where you're breathing. There are snow, you know, icicles all over form. So
Yeah.
it was that cold. So it was quite a different experience. And for a South Indian who's used to tropical, you know, more hot climate,
Hot climate.
getting used to the cold, yes, you know, getting used to the you know, cold climate is, even now it's quite tough. I feel really very cold, but I do a lot of layers and wear all kinds of thermals and everything, and keep myself warm. So even
Okay.
that was a big learning experience, and it also, you know, made me realize how mentally strong I am. After a point of time, physically you give up, but it's
Right.
in if you think in your mind that yes, you'll be able to do it. I think you live in your mind. So that's what I realized on this mountain, and it was very, very. It was a unique experience to summit Vinson Massif. It's, I think, one of the most incredible places on earth.
Okay.
And after Vinson Massif in 2016, again, April, I went to climb Everest. And this year, I succeeded in climbing Everest and going to Dalai Lama's Patola Palace in Lhasa and everything.
Okay.
So I had a wonderful experience. But yes, climbing Everest is very, very tough. I had a tough time on Everest climbing and also descending Everest. I remember
Okay.
there was one teammate of mine from California. He was a young man of around just 26, 27 years old. And again, very tall, very strong. And he was trying to climb Everest without oxygen.
Oh,
I
okay.
climbed Everest with oxygen. He was trying to climb without oxygen, and he was really super fast and very strong. Like if I reach the next camp in, like, you know, say 5 hours or 6 hours, he would reach in just 2 hours or 2.5 hours.
Okay.
He was that fast and agile.
Acha.
So there was no question in my mind that this person will not summit. I thought, you know, for me it was that he's the first person who's going to summit Everest.
So that was Aparna Kumar, who not only conquered many peaks across the globe, but also became the first officer from All India Civil Services to conquer tallest peak Mount Vinson Massifan in Antarctica. She proves to be an inspiration for many women not only in India but also around the world. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the podcast show Candid Talks with Bharat V. If you like the show, please do like, subscribe and share with others. If listening on Apple Podcast, do not forget to rate 5 stars. If on Spotify or YouTube, do not forget to subscribe and share. इसके साथ हम आज का सफर यहीं समाप्त करते हैं. बातों का सिलसिला जारी रहेगा with Aparna Kumar in our next episode to hear more of her experiences on Candid Talks with Bharat V. Stay home, stay safe. This is Bharat Vatsa signing off for today. दुआ में याद रखना. जय हिंद.